Hello, Internet. Welcome back to Jams by Gish. I'm Gish, and today I have a fun, maybe divisive video for you all. At the time of this recording, Season 2 of House of the Dragon just wrapped up, and I'll be honest, I wasn't the biggest fan. I'm normally not too critical of things on this channel, and that's actually why I'm making this video, because I see a lot of people saying that the show is ruined and that there's not a good way forward without really doing a disservice to books. And, that's its own thing. But I do want to pay respect to all the work that does go into the show that's going unnoticed, particularly the work of Ramin Djawadi, the composer for the show, who is incredible and has been incredible ever since he started working on Game of Thrones. If you like this video, give it a like, comment, and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into it. So, it goes without saying that the main theme of Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon is incredible. It's immediate. Those first few notes of Game of Thrones, the main theme kick in, you hear the arpeggio, and you're walking through the Seven Kingdoms in your living room. Djawadi uses a 12/8 time signature, which is rare, let alone in a TV score, giving the theme this unstoppable driving energy. The cello takes the lead, mirroring this gritty, grounded tone of the show, and then there's these ascending and descending arpeggios in the higher strings throughout. And it's this beautiful and warm piece that mimics the rise and fall of the different houses in the show. It's like next level foreshadowing, really. Then let's talk about his use of leitmotifs. Djawadi doesn't just write themes, he writes character arcs in music. You can take Daenerys Targaryen's Mother of Dragons theme. In the early seasons, it's this soft, almost tentative melody on a solo cello, just like Daenerys herself, who is unsure, alone, and slowly gaining power. But then come time for the end of season 7, and that theme swells into a full orchestral powerhouse with blaring bass and thundering percussion, just as Daenerys herself arrives in Westeros with her dragons and her army. The music literally grows with her character. Now we have to talk about the Red Wedding, right? The Rains of Castamere is a narrative element in the show. It's a diegetic piece of music in the show, and it's a harbinger of doom. Djawadi wrote it in a minor key, giving the song this eerie, unsettling vibe, perfect for the Lannisters and the comeuppance that they have when this theme plays. The musicians are even seen performing it in the show, which makes the betrayal hit even harder, because if you recognize the music, you know what's about to happen. Next, we need to talk about the use of piano in his scores. Djawadi is very particular about the use of piano. Piano's rare. It occurred first in Light of the Seven. Up until the season 6 finale, mainly stuck to strings, brass, and percussion, classic medieval sounds. But then when Cersei's plan unfolds, he brings in a piano, an instrument never before heard. This stark minimalist piano creates this cold, calculated atmosphere, perfectly mirroring Cersei's methodical revenge. It's almost like the music is saying, this is something new, and you should be very, very worried. And this is a recurring thing for every time that piano occurs, including in the finale of House of the Dragon Season 2. Djawadi composed the music of Westeros to have different regional dialects. He's a world builder. The Dothraki theme uses tribal drums and chanting, evoking the raw, untamed nature of their culture. Contrast that with the Stark theme, which leans heavily on solo cello and sparse instrumentation to convey the isolation and stoic resilience of the North. When you hear these themes, you don't just think, oh, that's that tribe. You feel the evidence of those cultures. Now let's talk about the Great Council scene in the very first episode of House of the Dragon. The music starts with this low, brooding drone, using string tremolos and subtle brass swells to build a sense of unease. And as the camera cuts between the lords making their cases, Javadi layers in more instruments, creating a tension that mirrors the high stakes of the moment. By the time the decision's made, the music has swelled into this almost oppressive force, underscoring the weight of what's just happened. Musical themes in these shows grow with the characters. The Iron Throne theme is a great example. In season 1, it's this regal and simple melody played on the cello, representing the throne's allure. But by season 8, the theme is transformed. It's heavier, more complex, with dissonance and harsher brass, reflecting how the quest for power has corrupted everyone who has sought the throne. The theme itself tells the story of Westeros' descent into chaos. And I touched on it earlier, but the finale of Game of Thrones, for all its flaws, had an incredible musical culmination. It pulls out all the stops with its Iron Thrones cue. Javadi pulls back themes from throughout the series, like the main title, the Stark theme, and he weaves them together in new ways. He uses minor chords and subtle variations in the themes to evoke a sense of bittersweet closure. Yes, the story is ending, leaving behind a complex legacy. It's like a musical goodbye to the world that we've been living in. At House of the Dragon, the Driftmark funeral scene is a masterclass in restraint. Javadi uses a solo violin to carry the melody, supported by a low-string drone that gives the music a somber but dignified feel. It's not over-the-top or melodramatic, it's just right, reflecting both the sorrow of the moment and the underlying tension within the Targaryen family. The music respects the gravity of the scene without overshadowing it. And then we have to talk about the Battle of the Bastards theme. It's an adrenaline rush, and Javadi's score is a huge, huge part of that. The music starts with these low, rumbling drums that mimic the sound of distant hoofbeats, and it builds the tension as Jon Snow and Ramsay Bolton prepare to clash. As the battle intensifies, Javadi layers in brass and strings in frantic, overlapping patterns, creating a sense of chaos and urgency. The music doesn't just accompany the action, it drives it, and it makes you feel every sword, clash, and every desperate breath of the battle. That about wraps it up. You know, for all of its flaws, and it has many flaws, I do really, really love Javadi's composition for Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon. And while I wish that the shows were better written, honestly, I ultimately have to respect the work that has been put into making these shows sound incredible. And I think that in time we will look back at the music of Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon as some of the greatest television composition that we've ever heard. With that, thank you all. I hope you liked the video. Like and subscribe. Bye-bye.